This is the Triumph recap for January 2020. My name's Kuruk and I'll be bringing you up to date with everything that's been happening Triumph. We're going to start off with an introduction to all the new squads we announced this month. We obtained a new Overwatch Contenders squad consisting of Triumph veterans Samita and Awkward, as well as some newcomers Hydran, Shao, Milky Man and Halo, as well as Big Owl as a substitute. They had their first showing in the Overwatch Contenders seeding event that went on earlier this month. Staying in Overwatch, we introduced a new Exalt squad, our open division team, that consisting of Garms, Aquatic, Carbon, Petal, Noxious, and Camboyo, as well as Lyre. At the time of writing, Exalt are currently 7-1 in open division right now. We also introduced a new Paradox squad, consisting of Hina, Bree, Eeyore, Addy, Sneaky, and Kylie. We also added an all-new esport to our lineup, that being Call of Duty, consisting of Philo, Nagafen, Parasite Lion, Royalty, and Zotic, as well as re-adding Apex Legends to our lineup, with our new squad consisting of Graceful, who was on our previous squad, JMW, who previously filled in for the Krakow Invitational, and Mady, an all-new member of the Triumph squad. We're also introducing two new staff members, being T-Fez and Carrie, both as video editors. T-Fez has previously worked with Team Island on their World Cup campaign, while Carrie is the editor and one of the members of Overwatch content creators SI Not Found. We now move on to our Contenders Overwatch squad, who recently played in the Overwatch seeding tournament as part of the new Overwatch Contenders rulings. Started off a rough start, going 1-3 against Noble, before smashing our way through the lowest bracket, taking down Simplicity, Tea Party, Montreal Rebellion, before finally falling to Atlanta Academy, meaning that we are now top seed for Trials up and coming. We got an interview with Samito to find out more.
We took map 1. We were feeling pretty confident, especially we haven't gotten to play like as 6 in like 3 or 4 days because Hydran had stuff he had to do like with school and stuff. So we were playing with Owl like in scrims. So we felt pretty confident. We were really close to drawing map 2 as well. Then after that, they kind of just took the tempo and played their game. We gave the one thing I want to work on as a team is discipline and not giving up free fights. I think against good teams like Atlanta, the top 4 teams, which is settled now, I think, with, being Second Wind, Envy, Atlanta, and Sky Foxes. You can't give free fights, and I think that's one of the things that we should definitely work on. But I don't know, like they're a good team. They play better, and I think they definitely deserve the win. Going forward, we got a month and a half till Trials. We're guaranteed contenders at this point. We're basically playing in Trials just for seeding. We're going for that 5 seed, and I'm very confident that we're going to get it.
The COD team's first outing was at the CDC Minnesota Open 2020 event. That was an event that ran alongside the Call of Duty League. We were 14th seed in that event, so the hopes were running high. We won the first 3 rounds quite happily. However, when it came to the 4th round, we went up against Seattle's academy team, Hybrid Black, where we managed to fall into the lower bracket, where we continued to win 2 more rounds until we came up against Mind Freak, where after some intense back and forth, we managed to fall 2-1. We sat down with Royalty, one of the members of our new squad, to find out his thoughts on the tournament.
Minnesota it could have went 2 ways for us. It could have went tragically, which it did, or it could have been a crazy good event where we, won the event. It basically our whole run started basically in winners round 4 when we played a Hybrid who ended up getting second that event. We lost 250 to 249 in the hard point, and then the S&D we won 6-5. And then the last map, it was domination. We had a 60-point lead, and we basically blew it. And then that caused us to lose the series 2-1. Truly, if we win any of the first map, the last map, if we win any of those maps, I'm literally confident we make it to the grand finals. I mean, I felt like we were most prepared team, I guess, going into the event. We practiced basically every game mode, and it also didn't help that a patch came out a day before the event, which changed domination, the mode. So a lot of things changed right before the event. If we just didn't choke in our winners bracket, we would have made a run. And then the losers bracket in itself is completely different because you're playing basically every single map is a dire, win, you know what I mean? You need to win basically every single map. You don't even want to be going last map. So when we finally got up into Mind Freak in the losers bracket, we won the first map. We actually slaughtered them. It was a 250 to 80 game. And then the S&D, we threw that. We literally 100% should have just 2-0'd them and then been on with our next series, because at that point we weren't even thinking about Mind Freak. These guys, the people we lost to the event, we should not have lost to. And I mean, I think everyone is well aware that we should have easily have done way better. And now it's all about coming home and making sure we're practiced up for the next one.
Moving on to Apex, the team took part in the EU Major 1 qualifier event as part of the all-new Apex Legends Global Series set of events. It took place over the course of 2 days, where teams are being placed into custom lobbies and playing against other professional teams. The first round, they managed to place second before placing second again and coming 4th overall in the third round, moving us on to the quarterfinals, where we again, after 14 hours of non-stop gaming, managed to take second place, securing our place in the semi-finals. The semi-finals, however, is where we fell short, as we placed 19th overall. We talked to JMW, one of the new members of the Apex squad, to get his thoughts on how the tournament went.
Hello, I'm JMW. I'm a member for Triumph Gaming for Apex Legends. So, first day of the qualifiers went really well. We stormed past all our groups. We were doing very well, clearing them, winning games in every single round. Overall, it just went perfect, basically. On the second day, when the second game came, it was a semi-final, and we had a very good group. We went into it thinking that we was going to do well, considering from our past games. Although it is a BO3, it is hard to get that couple of games out or that one lucky game. First 2 games, the zones were very bad for us. We had to rotate across the map, but it's not really an excuse. It is a BR. So the first 2 games was quite unfortunate for us, but the last game, we had a good start. Unfortunately, we had myself get picked off from a very far range, leading us to get pushed by another team below. And Grace got away, but couldn't get high enough in the placements to get points to go through. So for next time, we're going to all keep grinding like as we always do. We're going to go through. We're not going to let anything put us off. We're going to be more aware, more alert of everything. And we're going to come back to the next qualifier and smash it.
Meanwhile, the CSGO team took part in numerous tournaments. The first event they took on was the DreamHack Leipzig Open Qualifiers, where they fought for a place in the Leipzig Open LAN event. They smashed their way through the Open Qualifier, taking down Oceania 16-4 on Dust 2, as well as Saskatoon 16-9 on Nuke and 16-3 on Inferno, meaning the final score there was 2-0. They then qualified to move on to the DreamHack Closed event, where they went up against Cloud9. Unfortunately, they were not able to take the win, going 16-10 the first map, and then 16-11, meaning we were out of the tournament. Moving on, due to our success in the Group D of the Winners League, we were able to move on to the Winners League playoffs. The first round, we went up against a team called Seven Sins, where we took them on 16-12 on Overpass, and then 16-9 on Mirage. Next round, however, we were up against Ints, where we ended up going 4-16 on Vertigo, and 9-16 on Dust 2, meaning again, we were out of the running. Later on, the team tried qualifying for the DreamHack Anaheim LAN events. Went up against Big Frames and went 16-13 on Dust 2, moving on to the next round. And then we took on Just for Fun, going 16-6 on Mirage and then 16-7 on Nuke, meaning that we were up 2-0 on that round. And we then qualified for the DreamHack Closed qualifier, where we went up against E United. First round on Mirage, we went 7-16. However, on Overpass, we came tantalizingly close, with it coming 16-14, with the final round being decided by a single 2v2. Meaning that, again, we were out of the tournament. We talked to Voltage from the CSGO team to learn more.
DreamHack Leipzig, it didn't go, obviously the closed qualifier didn't, go as we planned, but the open qualifier went pretty well. A lot of the times we tend to slip up, the first in the open qualifier, and we would be up like 15 or like 14-3, and then we'll end up winning like 16-7 because we just kind of goof around a little bit in some of the rounds we slip, but we stayed disciplined, and that was something that I was really proud of us for. Another big thing throughout the closed qualifier, though, was we kind of did get a little bit unlucky that we got C9 as our first draw, considering they ended up actually winning it, and I actually think they were by far the best team in it. The Seven Sins game was very weird because we, for some reason, we just weren't playing like ourselves. We still ended up winning, but there's no way that it should have been that close versus that team in comparison. Those guys individually are not bad, but just as a team all around, we should have beat them by significantly more. And INTZ, I just don't know what to say. Those guys are insane. In scrims, we usually play them pretty close, but in matches, they're just a whole different beast. They're like our kryptonite, essentially. It's so hard to beat them. The United one was actually really frustrating. MCE has always been the in-game leader in our iterations of the roster, and the way he calls is it's like he micromanages, and he has like a set plan throughout the whole round. It's always good when people give him input, but for the most part, he could pretty much just have nobody speak the whole game and dry call us, like just call strats, and we would probably win the game. During the United game, because it was at noon East, which, gamer hours is not at noon. That's typically not peak gamer hours. And not only that, but people were not talking at all. And that was really, really difficult for me to like try and work with anything, especially on a map like Mirage, which is so like focused on the mid round, to where, I mean, anybody who could watch that game could tell that I was just calling strats. Second map, we almost pulled the comeback off because people woke up. People were warmed up. They were woken up because we just played, for an hour, 45 minutes, however long the first game was. So it just shows like that first map could have been completely different if we were, warmed up, ready to go. That did suck because we definitely could have beat them. Yeah, we can definitely beat those teams. And I'm hoping that we can get another chance at a qualifier soon and prove that.
Make sure to follow our socials at Everything Triumph, as you can find them down below or on the screen as you're looking right now. As always, I've been your host Kuruk, and this has been your Triumph Recap.